Hey y'all, hi. So I was just going to do a trying new makeup video today. There are some great brands that have sent me makeup and PR over the past couple of weeks, a bunch of stuff that I'm excited to try on camera, and I will get to all of it eventually, so don't fear. But I was collecting a full face of new makeup to try on camera, and I was having a hard time choosing which liquid, I guess they're not all liquids, but which like incredibly juicy, creamy, shiny, liquidy cheek thing to use. There are 4 about which I'm equally excited to feature, and in which I think you will have pretty much an equal interest. So instead of choosing one, I decided to just film a separate video reviewing all of them at once. I was inspired by my recent battle of the drugstore cream blushes where I did like one on one cheek and then one on the other, and then they faced off. Do you see what I did there? They faced off until we had a winner. There are only 4, so it's not going to be that long, but it'll be the same idea. Battle of the cream and liquid highlighters that have come in PR randomly over the past couple of weeks. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I'm so glad you're here for this one. My name is Hannah. I make beauty videos. I do really love reviewing makeup here on YouTube, and I also make videos about aesthetics at large, fashion, etc. I'll link some playlists down below so you can get familiar with my oeuvre, if you so choose. And I'm also a writer, and I just published my first book, and I will link that down below as well. Now, let us get into the meat of the video. So we have some Rare Beauty, a brand that my friends, my makeup loving friends have never tried. I have not yet tried Rare Beauty, which is so crazy because I was there when they launched. I was on the site on the day of the launch trying to decide what I should review. I was like putting a full face of Rare Beauty into my basket. And then for some reason, I think it was probably just the finances of that month for the YouTube channel. Didn't end up choosing it as a review product. And I just have never come back to it. I've mentioned Rare Beauty tons in New Makeup Hot Takes. Every time all of you to a person are in the comments being like, please review Rare Beauty. We want you to. And years have gone by, and yet I think I tried the mascara one time and that's it. So I now have these 3 sets from Rare Beauty. The perfume smells very good. It's one of those smells like warm, cozy skin scents, like nothing too strong and punchy, but really, really addictive. Like you want to keep smelling it. It says it's a fresh scent on the box, but I wouldn't call it that. Not that it's stale, not that it's expired. Maybe fresh laundry. You know what I mean? That it's like a warm, cozy laundry sweater scent. Dare I spray it on myself? I'm going to. Okay, so I'm getting a little cotton candy. I am getting a little grapefruit, which I kind of regret spraying it on myself because grapefruit tends to go a little sour on me. But now I see why they say that. It's nice though. It's balanced. It's interesting. I think that people will like this. And the set comes with some lotion. But that's not why we're here. I'm already sidetracked. We're here to talk about the Luminizer that's in the trio of blush and Luminizer minis. So this is Rare Beauty Enilven. So that'll be one of the contenders today. The Typology Glow Drops will be another one of the contenders. I'm really excited about this one. I did briefly test it and I found it to be very clear but very shiny. I hope that that's true. The Iris&Romeo Ceramide Multi-balm in the shade Daylight, which I believe is like an illuminating shade. I think that this product comes in a bunch of colors and it can be a blush, but this is a very illuminating shade of it. And here's the big one, my friends. It's the Katie Jane Hughes brand, the Hyper Shine Serum and the Hyper Shine Light Pigment in Light Bronze. I know. I cannot wait to put this on my cheeks. And it came with a little brush. Katie Jane Hughes is a makeup artist. I'm very inspired by her aesthetic and her content on social media, and I know that a lot of you are too. And this is her brand, pretty recently launched brand. So what order should we go in? I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to pit Typology against Iris&Romeo first because I think that they're the ones with the least pigment, just mostly shine. And then we'll move on to incorporating the other 2 because this one looks pretty pigmented and the color of the Katie Jane Hughes product that they sent is pretty dark. Honestly, I smell so good because the grapefruit's working. It's not going sour. I smell like a really good Anthropology candle. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's me, like my true scent self, but it's enjoyable. I'm enjoying smelling it. Okay, starting with Typology. I feel like it's already the winner based on the hand swatch, as long as it dries down, but it feels watery rather than oily, so I feel it is going to dry down. It's so clear. You know, it's got that really, really wet shine and it's very glossy. I'm gonna zoom you in. Right before we started filming, I centered this piece of furniture in the back because it's been off center and it's been bothering me when I'm editing. And look how well I did it. I really nailed it. The background, it's still just provisional. I mean, it's still just what we threw back there when we moved here, but it's been working perfectly fine. I like the simplicity of it, but I am going to do something at some point to make it a little more special, a little more the thing. Okay. I always like to apply products with my fingers when I'm doing first impressions because I feel like I can feel it with my fingers and I can give you the most feedback immediately. Like I can give you the most information when I can feel it. With this, I started moving it around with my finger and I can tell you it felt thin and very wet. It feels water-based. That's the best way that I can describe it. And then it has that glassy super shine pigment sort of swirled into this watery base. But because of that, my fingers didn't feel like the best tools to apply it. I felt like I was sort of maybe making it dull by mixing it with what was underneath, which is just a little bit of the Merit Minimalist foundation. And so I ended up reaching for a brush to get an even application. Now that it's on, I don't know. It's almost like in the mirror, I'm having a hard time seeing the shine. I actually, in person, it doesn't look shiny. I think it's one of those real wet look products, actually just like water, like just like a surface that's wet with water. They only shine from certain angles. And I feel like I'm not able to get the angle for myself in the mirror here because I have so much light on me. In the camera, it's shiny, but it has that like, almost like a slightly silvery cast. I don't know. It's not selling itself to me. And I know myself, and I know that the fussiness of a little bottle with a little dropper might keep me from reaching for this over and over again. A lot of times when I'm getting ready, I end up reaching for the thing that's going to be the easiest and the most tactily satisfying to apply. And that's also going to give me the result that I want. And this it's not really delivering on any of those counts. It's so interesting. I was actually kind of the most excited to try it because I love a wet look shine. It has dried down, which is a huge benefit, a huge boon. It has dried down and it's on the subtle side, which I know will be great for a lot of you. And Typology is such a beautiful brand, you know, so if you like something subtle, you want it to dry down and you like a wet look shine, you want it to be water-based and have that feeling, that really thin, almost like a glaze, like the feeling of a glaze that really sets down, it might be the one for you, but I think something else is going to unseat it. Let's try this. This is Daylight from Iris&Romeo. Again, they have blushes in this formula and they also have at least this one that seems like it's more of a highlighter. The swatch is very pretty. It's very glossy. It looks like it's melted a little bit on contact with my hand and it smells like something that's not going to set down. I don't know how I can explain that except for that I'm pulling from my years of testing beauty products. It smells like balms that I've tried that stay balmy, that are just set oil, you know? And yeah, that is definitely how it feels on my hand. This is definitely one of those products that gets its shine from the fact that it stays a bit greasy on the skin. Some products like this, though, adhere to the skin in a way that makes it less of a problem than I anticipate. Okay, the shine is really pretty, both in the mirror and in the camera. You know what it's giving me? It's giving me Jones Road Miracle Balm. That's why I felt like it wasn't going to set down. It smells a lot like Jones Road Miracle Balm, and it kind of feels like that as well. But you know, with Miracle Balm, it's set enough that it didn't bother me throughout the day. It's very sticky. It's very sticky and it's not going to change like the nature of it. It's not drying down. It is just the substance that it is. It's solid in the bullet. It becomes a cream when it's warmed up by the skin and then it just stays in that cream format. So for me, especially with my hair down like this, that's a little bit of a tough sell. The color is really pretty. I think if you like something to stay balmy like that, like if you like Jones Road Miracle Balm because it hydrates, like literally actively hydrates throughout the day by being an active layer of balm, almost like a lip balm for your cheeks. That is what this is. This is like a lip balm for your cheeks. And there are pros and cons to that. So if you have really dry skin, I know a lot of people with quite mature skin like that type of thing on the cheeks and would rather have something that stays a little bit tacky so that your skin underneath it stays moisturized and stays supple as you're wearing it. You know, both sides look pretty right now, but neither one of them made me want to like put it in my makeup bag and wear it day after day after day. And it's interesting. I usually love a liquid illuminator or a cream illuminator. It's usually not a tough sell for me because I really like this type of thing. So each one of these is in its own way, like kind of failing to compete. I have something else from Iris&Romeo actually. They sent me, what is it called? It's like Best Skin Day foundation or something. From the images on the website, I was absolutely absolutely positive that it wasn't going to work for me, that the color wasn't going to work for my skin. The lightest shade, I thought it would be too dark. It looks really dark and pink in the imagery online. And I actually wrote back. They emailed me and they were like, do you want to try this product? And I didn't respond because I clicked through and I looked at the imagery and I was like, you don't want to send that to me. It's just not going to work. The color's not going to work. But then they followed up and then I wrote back and I was like, I just don't think the color's going to work, but you can send if you want. They sent it. I opened it. The color looks gorgeous. And I actually think it is going to work, but I'm not putting it on today. I'm not wearing it today because I was just doing illuminators today. I know a lot of you are really interested in this brand and I am going to try the foundation, but I couldn't help myself from grabbing this other Iris&Romeo. This is a lip product, Power Peptide Lip Balm. Amazing. That is beautiful. One of the things that's making this really hit for me is that it's really stiff. It's thick and stiff, so it feels like it's going to have tenacity on the lips. It's not just going to melt away like a melty oil. It feels like it's going to stay present. It's going to retain its tint on the lips for a while. I feel like I could maybe not eat an entire meal, but I could drink from a glass of water or a can of water and not feel like, oh, it's gone now because it was just a little bit of a tint. This is like 2 layers probably, and it's really giving color on me because this is, I think, the richest shade. This is the color Chestnut, and of course I'm very pale. But it's wearable. It's definitely wearable. Really pretty. I wish it was in a squeezy tube, but I know why they didn't put it in a squeezy tube. It's because it's too stiff. If they'd put it in a squeezy tube, it would be really hard to squeeze out. So this is the correct delivery mechanism for it. It's just, every time I'm going to have to dig my nail in and wipe my finger off, which isn't my favorite. Very impressive though. And it has that like rosebud salve smell, just a slight rose scent and taste. I am really glad that I brought that to test today. I feel like that really revived me after the struggle of the first 2 highlighters. Let's move on. I'm going to remove them from my cheeks and reapply the Merit product to really have a clean slate. By the way, I'm using Ceramic from Merit. I've been mixing, they expanded the shade range recently, which is amazing because the lightest shade previously was not light enough. Ceramic is light. It's light enough and it has a slight pink tint. So I've been mixing it with Chiffon, which is the next darkest shade that has a more neutral, maybe slightly grayish yellow tint, but is not as light as Ceramic. It's such a melty, melt into your skin, become one with the skin formula. They both kind of work, but Ceramic for me, the lightest one, is kind of the heavy hitter. And speaking of heavy hitters, let's try this. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna hate it based on the color. The formula, it feels amazing. It's really light. This was really spreading well. So it's interesting. It's thin and light. It feels like a very elegant formula. Yeah, it's really nice and slippy. And I feel like it's gonna dry down and set, but it's also giving me a lot of time to work with it. So it's really great. It's the color though. It's too dark for me just as an illuminator. So it's definitely going to be an illuminating blush on me, but as a blush, it's really peachy. I'm just gonna try it though and see. Wow. Okay. This is the first thought that I had as I was blending it out and building it up on my cheek. This is what it feels like not to struggle with a formula. This is what it feels like not to struggle with a makeup product. It is just blending out perfectly. It's not doing too much. It has pigment, but it's not so pigmented that it streaks, smears, gets out of control, gets uneven, gets blotchy. It's like blending itself, asking me to layer it and build up to the proper level of pigment for me and level of shine, slowly setting down. So giving me a lot of time to blend, but then it's going to set down and not be something that smears or is sticky throughout the day. And clearly it's working a lot better. Like the relationship between pigment and shine is such that it's working a lot better for my complexion than I feared that it would, but it can definitely be built up to be something more intense, which is great. That makes it incredibly versatile. It makes it something that'll work for a lot of people. The color, like the undertone, the specific color is peachy. It's working as a blush for me. I mean, it is working. I just wish that it were a little bit of a different color. I wish it were a different shade, and this isn't always the case. So it's just take note that this is the case. I'm able to give a glowing review, I think, of the formula, even though I don't love the color. I can see the separate pieces of the puzzle fitting together, and I like all the pieces. I can see the big picture, and I like all of the pieces of it except for the color of this specific one. So that's great. That's very satisfying as a reviewer to be able to say, even though I'm probably not going to keep and wear this exact mini, I am impressed by this formula. Okay, let's finally dig into this KJH brand Hypershine Highlight Kit. Okay, so there's the Hypershine Light Pigment in the shade Light Bronze. I know that this comes in other colors, and this is definitely not the one I would have chosen. I think they were specifically sending like bronzing products or just sending this color or something. I fear this is going to go a little bit orange on me. I know that some of the colors, at least one of the other colors, is this really pretty, like light pink that I would have loved. So we'll see. It does look really pretty and it feels really nice. Here it is blended out a little more. And yeah, you can see it's not like it's an orange bronzer or something. It's just on me because I've got a green undertone. Browns tend to go orange unless they're really cool toned. Okay, and there's the Hyper Shine Serum, which I totally just dripped all over my table. I'm so curious about this. I love Katie Jane Hughes' content, but I'm not a voracious enough consumer of content in general, like not just her, but just in general. I don't have my finger on the pulse enough to have followed every single stage of unveiling of products of this brand. Like, I don't really know. I kind of vaguely know what's going on, but I don't really know. This seems to me like a really shiny face gloss that's not going to set down, but that's stiff enough that it might be workable. I definitely associate really shiny serum-y gloss like this with Katie Jane Hughes' aesthetic, and I've seen her do some amazing looks with this kind of thing. Very editorial, so to speak. So I can see why she would have released a product like this. I'm not totally sure how it's going to work for me, but I will give it a try. Here's the brush. So this serum says use alone or mix with pigments for incredible luminosity. And the Hypershine pigment says it's for a lit from within glow. So I'm going to try the pigment first by itself. It's funny, we're getting a pretty similar orange shade on me, again, to the one from Rare Beauty. Like, they're ending up looking kind of similar on my cheeks, but the Katie Jane Hughes is much more wet looking. It just looks drenched, really, really high glass shine, whereas the Rare Beauty is more of a traditional highlight shine, like it has reflex in it. And I prefer the Katie Jane Hughes. I prefer the finish. Okay, building it up a little bit more on my cheeks, the Katie Jane Hughes pigment, and adding a little bit to my nose and trying to bring it onto my eyes. Now we're starting to see the drawback of this darker color on me, right? As I build it up, it's not quite working for me, the color, and it's starting to kind of highlight the weird bumps and planes of my cheek and make my skin look a little bit mottled. It's just, I think a different color would work better for me. But it looks really pretty on my nose. Like, the color looks really amazing. It looks pretty the way that I'm bringing it into my eyes. I think that this is just a little bit too thick of a layer of this color of this product on me. So removing it a little bit, I am going to mix the two. So I'm putting a little more of the serum on the back of my hand. I'm getting a little more of the pigment on the brush, mixing them together, and I'm going to paint that on. Okay, I definitely love that. I love the shine of that. It's made it more sheer. So I really like what it's done to the color, but it's also made it less stable because the serum is this like tacky, very thick, liquidy, like a very, very viscous gloss product. Maybe a little more slippery than what you think of as a lip gloss. I'm going to put on my lips. Oh yeah, it's not tacky at all. It's not sticky at all. My lips aren't sticking together, not even in the slightest. So it's got a nice slip to it, but it's not as stable as like the one from Rare Beauty, and I don't think it's ever going to be, and I don't think that it's trying to be. So this is interesting, right? Two products that look pretty much exactly the same. The bronze from Katie Jane Hughes, especially mixed with the eyeglass, and the Rare Beauty Luminizer in this shade Enilven. Practically, the Rare Beauty's better for me on a practical level because it sets down the way that it does. In every other way, I prefer the one from Katie Jane Hughes because I like the sort of fetishy methodology. I like the brush application. I like being a little bit of a mixologist over here. I love being able to adjust the level of the pigment and the level of the clear shine by putting more of the serum or more of the pigment. I like the way that it applies, and I like the glassy, really wet look reflect better than the more highlighty reflect. So I feel like Katie Jane Hughes is the winner. It's the winner in my heart, but it's interesting. I think that practically I would be more likely to grab the one from Rare Beauty if it were in the right color, like if it were in the color for me, because I know that it's going to have that stability. So pros and cons for both of them. Both really pretty products, and I think both doing exactly what they want to be doing, like exactly what they're meant to be doing, and doing that really well. So that's it for the battle of the random liquid and cream luminizers. No real winner today. Actually, no. You know what? The surprise out of left field winner was the Iris&Romeo Power Peptide Lip Balm in Chestnut. I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to leave it here at my filming station, and it is always what I'm going to use when my lips are a little dry, when I'm starting to film, when I'm not quite sure what to finish a look with, when I'm finished filming and I wipe off whatever lip product I was using and my lips are really dry because I was doing lip swatches or whatever. It's the perfect, nourishing, and also beautiful multi-purpose product for me to have around as somebody who's not only trying to nourish her lips, but also trying to have them look okay on camera and have them complement makeup looks, etc., etc. Amazing. I mean, come on. I have to say, I'm feeling like literally like I am Katie Jane Hughes right now. with the Hyper Shine Serum on top of this, and didn't she have, doesn't her hair kind of like this? The Hyper Shine Serum, in spite of its dubious instability for me, is making me want to put it all over my face. Like, it is making me want to put it all over my eyes, all over everything. I can't do that right now because I'm going to go on to film another video. And I think that if I were to put this all over my eyes, it would disrupt too much the shadow that's on there and I might not make it through the other video. But it is a really special product, and the packaging and just the ease of use of the products, like the way that the hands interact with them, it's beautifully executed. Thank you for watching this battle of the recently released illuminating cheek products. Let me know if there are any others that are new to the market that you think that I would like better than any of these. And maybe I'll do another 4, pick another 4. Or if there's one that you've been eyeing that you want my review of, you want information about, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to register to vote, y'all. Getting down to the wire. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.